Hello guys and gals, and welcome. So today I have something special for you. This is going to be quite an interesting video. This is a video about super unique monsters. That's right, you Diablo 2 fans, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say super unique monsters, and a list of names suddenly floods into your head, like Eldritch the Rectifier, and Shank, and Pindleskin, and Infector of Souls, and so forth and so on, right? Well, in this game, in Diablo 4, there are monsters that are considered super unique monsters, and they also drop some very interesting items. And today, what I want to do is I want to take you through every single one of these super uniques. I want to kill them all, show you the items that they drop, and talk about some of the special things that you can get from them. So the super unique monsters actually have the possibility of dropping items higher than a 820. So as of right now, most people are well aware that you can only find about 820 item power on a weapon or an armor or things like that. But believe it or not, the super unique monsters can actually drop a little bit higher than that, which is actually quite interesting. One of our kinship members has managed to find one that was 837, and of course you can also upgrade that 3 times, which is really freaking nice. This kind of thing leads to basically you farming very specific items so that you can get some very specific effects. Now, what do I mean by very specific effects? Well, the answer to that question is that some of these rare items that are dropped by these super unique monsters are actually not things that you can get on regular rare items. So if you are looking for a specific effect on a rare item that doesn't normally roll on a rare item, like for instance, like maybe you want a very specific effect on a rare ring that just doesn't seem to roll on rare rings. Well, believe it or not, you can get that with these weird super unique items. Now, I'm going to pause the video here, and we're going to go find the first super unique, and we're going to kill him, and we're going to show him on camera. And hopefully, by the end of this video, we will have found every super unique in the game, and shown off every rare item that they can potentially drop. Alright, so this is the first one on our journey here. This is Rotsplinter. He's located in next to Menestad in the Fractured Peaks. It's actually really easy to get to him. You basically just travel straight west, and he is going to be right here. This is Rotsplinter. Do be careful with Rotsplinter as lower level characters, because he has been known to one-shot some lower level characters. He has some pretty high amounts of poison damage. Now, we're really high level, so we're probably not going to have any issues with him. But you come up here, and he will be standing here kind of like curled up into a little ball. And when you kill him, he gives you a pretty nice ring. The ring can roll between sacred, ancestral, and regular too sometimes. And it always has some very specific stats on it. So the ring of the splintered wood is 21 lightning, 21 poison. It also has crit strike chance always, poison damage always, and damage to close enemies always, which makes it very interesting for like a crit wolf. These items also have flavor text on them, so they say even the slightest touch leaves painful splinters burrowed in the flesh. This ring can be reformed over and over again. So he will respawn. It only takes a certain amount of time. Everybody who's with you will get one, so as you can see, they're not bound, so I have 2 of them here. We got 4 people in the group, so everybody got one of these rings. So the fastest way to farm these guys, honestly, if you're looking for a specific ring, or a specific roll, he got me with the explosion, is to just farm them in a group. That way you can get as many possible rolls as you can, as quickly as you can. As you can see, we've already gotten Ancestrals here. I got an Ancestral 774. Leon got an Ancestral 800, so pretty good rolls there. When you upgrade these, they'll get even better, and you can just continually kill this monster over and over again to try and get the best possible roll on these rings. Now, one thing is important to note about these super unique rings that have these special effects. I can't really call them unique items because this is a unique item, right? But these are like unique rares. Is that they only have 3 effects, not 4. So if you look at your ring, or my ring that I have on right now, I've got vulnerable, crit, ground control, and fizz damage, which is 4 effects. The super unique rings, or the unique rares, only have 3 modifiers, not 4. But they do have very specific modifiers, and sometimes they have things that you cannot obtain on a ring. So very interesting here. We can just continue killing Rotsplinter over and over again to get as many of these rings as we possibly can. So let's move on to the next one. The next one, I'm not really sure which one yet, but I'll surprise you. All right, so the next one we have on the list is one that was actually farmed quite a lot during the beta. This is a... Oh, look at that big old pack of monsters just spawned on top of our heads. This is the one that drops the Mace of Blazing Furor. He is always fire enchanted as well, so be aware of this. The fire enchanted mod is one of the nastiest mods in the game, I swear. But as you can see, you can get ancestral items from him as well. And the Mace of Blazing Furor is something that can roll pretty high. It has damage to burning enemies on it, damage while berserking, and overpower damage. So it's going to be something very specific that you would use for like an overpower build, a fire build. Maybe, I don't know. But it's a mace, so obviously it can be used by barbarians. It can be used by the druid, I believe, can also use one-handed maces. I don't think anybody else can use one-handed maces. So this is pretty much between the druid and the barbarian. It says the handle of this white-hot mace bears soot marks in the shape of a clenched fist. Now, granted, everybody gets one, so every single time he dies, you're going to get multiple, and you can just continually finding more and more of these. The only downside of this is that the level requirement of the mace is literally the level of your character. So, like, when Leon finds one over here, and he's level 100, his mace is going to be, like, literally level 100, and I can't use it, and nobody could use it, except for Leon, so you can have that back, sir. They actually moved this one, by the way, so if you farmed him during the beta, he was here in this particular location, but they moved him over here, so this is his new spot. So if you take Nostrava, if you have that waypoint, you can go south, or you can take Menestad and go, Nevesk, and you can go north. Either way you want to get here, it doesn't really matter. It's he's just going to spawn repeatedly over and over again, and you can kill him over and over again and try and get the best Mace of Blazing Fury you can. You can even get normal ones. As you can see, we did get a normal drop there, so that wasn't even a high level. So a little low-B Mace of Blazing Fury. These don't sell for good money, by the way. They sell for like 2 gold. So you're not going to get rich off of this. In fact, if the item is not what you need, and it's not what anybody else needs, then honestly, you should probably just throw it back on the ground, because it really has no purpose. It's not even worth taking back to town. Find the one that actually has the item power that you want. Find the one that has the stats that you want, obviously. So, like, for this one, it has 14% damage to burning enemies. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can continually try and kill this monster over and over again until you can get that 14% burning damage. We're going to move on to the next one, which is the Corlin Hulle the Multiplicative. So he's actually in Fractured Peaks as well. He's above the Bear Tribe. Alright, so Corlin Hulle is above the Bear Tribe, and I'm going to show you his location real quick. So if you take the Bear Tribe waypoints right here, and you just go straight north, he is in this little alcove right here up top. Corlin Hulle does multiply. That's his signature. So he's called the Multiplicative, and he will actually make copies of himself. You may have to kill him multiple times before he actually dies. He got me. He has gotten me a couple times, actually, believe it or not, in beta as well. He's got some pretty nasty damage output. But he drops the Staff of the Elemental Command, which has 20% fire damage and 14% lightning damage, and cold damage. So it basically has all of them on it, fire, lightning, and cold. I guess this would be for a character that really wants to use, I don't know, all elements. You can re-roll some of these stats, by the way, and it's actually really cheap to re-roll these stats. As Leon was pointing out earlier, since they're worth nothing, when you take them back to the, the shop, essentially, to re-roll them, like, in as far as enchanting, they basically cost nothing for enchantment. So if you want to re-roll some of the effects, like maybe you're not interested in the lightning damage, or you're not interested in the fire or whatever, and you want to re-roll one of the effects to something else, you totally can. Like, it's pretty easy to do. And it will gradually increase in price to enchant the item. So if I take let's take the higher eye level here, which is the 808. As you can see, it's 6 gold to enchant this item right now. Like, a whole 6. And so the Mace of Blazing Fury, and then we can also do the Staff, which is, again, 6 gold. And as you reroll effects, like say you didn't want the overpower damage, or maybe you didn't want the burning damage, or whatever, that's going to bind it to you. And then, of course, you can reroll to something else, like 60 strength, for instance, and then look, it costs 30 gold, and so forth and so on. So pretty darn cheap to reroll these items to get, like, an additional effect other than what they come with. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, the next one that we've got on the list is also in Fractured Peaks. This one is named Sir Lynna, something like that. I can't remember exactly. He's basically just north of Kjolvashad, or east of Menestad, either way you want to look at it. And he's in this little alcove right here next to the Forsaken Quarry dungeon. So the Forsaken Quarry dungeon is pretty easy. He's basically just straight west of the Forsaken Quarry. He drops something known as the Dark Blade. He's always shadow enchanted, as you can see, and it looks like he's a what is it? One of Inarius's disciples. That's what it kind of looks like to me. Like he's one of the like the Inarius troops, because he's got like the Inarius armor on, and he also has the like the Inarius shield on his back with the Inarius symbol. But he drops this as a one-handed ancestral rare sword that has 13% shadow damage, as well as 7% damage to affected monsters of shadow over time. So as you can see, it's definitely a shadow sword. Probably something that you would want to use for a Blight Necromancer. It also has the 5.6% chance to execute injured non-elites, which I would probably re-roll that if I was a Blight Necromancer. I probably wouldn't want to use this otherwise. Now, your goal here is to keep farming him until he drops you one that's really high eye level. Leon managed to link us one right now that's an 836. He has an 837, but he can't link that one due to the bug that prevents you from linking them. But that's the ancestral rare two-handed sword that can potentially drop way over item level 820. And as you can see, it's 2,645 damage per second, which is pretty insane. If you compare that to my two-handed scythe, or sorry, two-handed sword that I have that's fully upgraded, by the way, mine's only 2,730, and that's with all 25 item power upgrade points. So if you take this 836 and you upgrade it, it's probably going to be a hell of a lot more damage than my two-handed sword that I have here. It's not going to be the optimal stats, but it will be a much higher damage output. Now, these guys seem to spawn on a... I'm not really quite sure exactly how to explain it. Like, let's say, for instance, they have a spawn window that's once every 15 minutes. They don't necessarily spawn once every 15 minutes. Sometimes they can spawn multiple times within, like, a 3 or 4 minute period, and then sometimes you can stand here for 10 minutes and nothing happens. It's kind of strange the way that they work. It seems to work more around spawn windows, and then the spawn windows seem to kind of like rotate, and sometimes you'll have like multiple spawn windows right next to each other, so the monster will literally spawn like 2 or 3 times, like in a very short period of time, and then sometimes you'll just stand here and nothing happens. One of the things that gives it away that the monster is there, by the way, and I'll see if I can capture this on camera at least once or twice, is that on the map and even on the mini-map, you'll see this like very light, kind of shining, I don't know how to put it. You can actually kind of see it around my character right now. It's kind of strange. Like sometimes you'll see like a white, like almost like a little star. It's very not exaggerated, I guess would be the point. Like it seems to almost deliberately be like sort of like something that you're not supposed to see, like a little twinkle, like the twinkling of a star. Yeah, exactly, Doug. And it kind of goes away just as quickly as it appears. It's really just there to show you that something is there of interest that you should look at, and then it's gone. Which is why a lot of the times I have trouble getting it on camera, because you don't necessarily see it for very long. Like if you're just happen to be riding by, you'll probably see the twinkle on the mini-map as you're riding by, and that twinkle will indicate that the monster's here. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Looks like he's not going to respawn as quickly as the others. Alright, so the next one on the list is in Skosglen, and he is a little bit sort of like southeast early of Saragar. So if you take the road down here, you'll see like a kind of like a field. And in the field, he's just sitting in the field. So if you go out here, there are obviously a lot of blood clans all over the place. But he is up here. There he is. Ow. Stop being mean. His name is Gharbahn Ennai, the Butcher of Saragar. And he always has the Vampiric mod, which could make him potentially nasty. And he drops the Manhunter Breeches. The Manhunter Breeches have... where are they at? Right here. I'll drop some of these other items. I don't want to get them mixed up with mine. So it has +2 ranks of rabies, and you also get 7.5% healing received and 14% damage for 4 seconds after killing an elite. Honestly, that 14% damage after killing elite seems kind of nice. It goes up to 20%, and then the 7.5% healing, I don't know, could be interesting. It seems to be looking at the... I'm going to say the passive effect that the druids have. I'm not sure if you guys have taken a look at it, which is like every time you crit, you heal yourself. That might be what it's trying to do, so it's giving you a way to increase that heal that you're getting from the crits. But it definitely seems to be focused on a rabies druid. Obviously with the +3 skills on the pants for rabies, and I'm not even sure that you can get rabies on pants normally. I don't think so. I know you can get some skills on boots, I can get some skills on your gloves. I'd have to take a look at that, but that might be the special effect there, actually, is the +3 rabies on the pants, which would allow you to get the rabies a little bit higher than you otherwise normally would. And as you can see, there's a picture starting to form here. We have items that are allowing us to get some effects on things that we would otherwise not be able to. We got the Ring of the Splintered Wood, the Mace of the Blazing Furor, the Staff of the Elemental Command, the Manhunter Breeches, and then we also got the Dark Blade, which all have very specific effects so far. And let's move on to the next one. So we're going to finish off Skosglen, so it's probably going to be another one in Skosglen. Alright, the next one on the list is Gaspar Stilbian. Gaspar Stilbian is actually located slightly west of the Whispering Pines. You can actually take the Under the Fat Goose Inn, and you can travel up here. He is right here in this little dimple, which weirdly looks like a nipple. And Gaspar Stilbian drops a very interesting pair of gloves. So when you kill him, he gives you the Outcast wraps, which... Did he not drop them? What? Did you guys get anything?
Yes. They're on the ground.
I did not. So he drops the Outcast wraps, which have +3 ranks of Incinerate, fire damage over time, and of course the chance to slow. Now, you obviously would probably want to re-roll one of those effects. Probably, I don't know, the chance to slow maybe, or the Incinerate, depending on which way you're going. Incinerate's not really one of the most sought-after abilities on the tree, so yeah. But you can farm him over and over again. He's in this little, like, lava area, which is kind of fitting since he drops a fire item. Let's move on to the next super unique. I don't want to make this video 1,000,000 hours long. Alright, so I wanted to do this really quickly so you guys can see the sparkle. I think it just went away too. Like, dang. The sparkle goes away so quickly. But you might have caught it there just before it disappeared. This is Lord Eonan, or Eonan, or whatever. He's like a vampire. He's like one of those ones that turns into bats and stuff. He's the Blood Cursed, as you can see here. Eonan the Blood Cursed. And he drops the Blood Cursed Band. The Blood Cursed Band has 10.5% damage for 4 seconds after picking up a Blood Orb, 13.5% Blood Orb healing, and 20% damage to close enemies. So as you can see, this one is more specifically for a Necromancer who is running Blood Orbs, because it has 2 modifiers for Blood Orbs on it, and is also running the close damage, which you definitely would want if you're going to be using Blood Surge, because you got to get really close to use that ability anyway. Kind of a cool little thing there, just to get various ones. And you're going to have to farm them for a while, like, to get, like, the optimal effects, to try and get one that has, like, the perfect rolls. You're probably going to have to farm them for quite some time. Sometimes he's not even going to drop you an ancestral item. Sometimes it's going to be a, you know, it's a sacred or a regular. So unless it's ancestral, it's not even going to be worth taking back to town, really. Well, to take with you. We were talking about this earlier, though. One thing you can do with these, even though they're worthless, as far as value is concerned, is you can deconstruct them for some veiled crystals, at least. So you can at least do that. Go ahead and I'm just gonna keep like one of every one of these on me for right now. Let's see. I'll have a little collection here. All right, so let's move on to the next one. All right, so there he is on the map right there. You can see the sparkle, or well, it's already gone. Look at that. It doesn't last very long. It really doesn't. But it's right here, next to the Tiramare waypoint. You want to go into the evil red death area right here, and you're gonna find this boy who is, well, he should be here anyway. His name is Blind Edlin. There he is. There's the blind boy. Get him. He's the soul star. And he yeah, get the blind boy. I sound like a bully. He drops the blind man's bell, which is an amulet. And it has 8% control impaired duration reduction, 13% damage reduction while injured, and 16% movement speed for 4 seconds after killing elite. That's not a very good amulet. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Wow. Those are all like modifiers that I would not want. So I think this one might be a super unique skip. This would be a super skip. The superest of skips. Let's move on to the next one. We got a lot of super uniques to go over, so I don't want to spend too long on each individual one. Alright, so the next one is in Dry Steppes, and this one is west of ruins of Kar Yisu or east of Girondi, either one. And it is right here in this little dimple. This one is Zarozar the Mighty. Zarozar the Mighty. And he seems to be a ghost. Looks like a barbarian ghost at that. And he drops the Bloodspiller's Helm. The Bloodspiller's Helm has 9.5% damage while berserking, 2 ranks of Rupture, and 25 life on kill. So 2 ranks of Rupture is probably the secret thing there, because it does give you, I think, up to 4 ranks once you get it fully upgraded. So if you upgrade it from a higher level, that's an 827. That was a pretty good roll. As you can see, they can roll higher than 820, which is pretty nice. So you take that back, you upgrade it, you're going to get 4 ranks of Rupture on that, which you may or may not be using. I didn't particularly like Rupture when I used it on the Barbarian, but it does have its uses to solidify bleed damage if you're going with like a full bleed build. But it also takes the bleeds off the target, which is also not cool, because I like to watch them bleed. I like to watch them tick. Yes. A lot of these have special graphics, by the way, when you put them on. So, like, you can also take some of the armor pieces back to town and you can deconstruct them, which will give you, whatever the special graphic is of that particular helmet. I've seen some of these have some pretty cool graphics on them, like the sword and whatnot is like a flaming sword. Kind of has like a I can't really remember exactly how it works, but one of these I know, for instance, like the mace, which I can't put on, has a flaming aspect to it. The dark blade kind of has like a glowy shadow thing coming out of it. I don't know, but taking them back and getting the at least getting the transmog out of them is certainly not a bad thing. So moving on to the next one. Alright, so we got the Pitiless Gur. He's already getting murdered before I even got there. As you can see, he has Heart of Ice and a bunch of other modifiers. It's a big giant barbarian with like 2 axes or something. I don't really know. The Pitiless Gur drops a two-handed, a freezing armor. Freezing armor, which has the 7.5% cold damage, cold resistance, and thorns on it, which is kind of an odd combo. Gur's freezing armor. To find him, he is actually kind of north of this big basin where you do like the world boss battles and stuff. So if you take the Fate's Retreat and you come down here next to the Whispering Vault, he spawns right here on this little location. That'll give you a good idea. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so the next one on the list is Bhotak The Inevitable. And you got to see the shine that time. I actually saw it on the camera this time. So, Bhotak The Inevitable is one of the, like, I don't know, like a fallen, like one of the big fallen, I think. Where did he go? Did he teleport? Yeah, there he is. Oh, Goat Man. He's one of the big Goat Men. He's an undead Goat Man at that. He's got, like, his bones sticking out. He drops the Necklace of Inevitability. The Necklace of Inevitability has crit strike chance against injured enemies, damage reduction while injured, and a healing effect on it as well. So, made out of apparently charred goat's teeth. This vile necklace of charred goat's teeth periodically contains both the power to extend life as well as cut it short. Weird. And this guy is located right here, which is kind of like east of the Onyx Watchtower, or you can also go west of Fate's Retreat. It's right near the Grinning Labyrinth dungeon right here. So you see this kind of like cut out here, and it's right in the center between all this crap. He's not really that hard to find. Honestly, he's really big too, and he teleports on top of your head, so I'm sure you'll find him pretty easily. The next one.
Yep.
All right, so the next one is on the beach here. He's actually like way over here, next to this lethal shrine right here. You can take the Alzuda waypoint to get to him, but he's basically right here. He drops a pretty nice two-handed sword, and he does have a transformation, so make sure that you let him transform. Otherwise, sometimes he can glitch out. Where is he hiding at? Oh, you got him over here? Yeah, there he is. His name is Jebtaa the Bearer of the Blade. And he definitely does have a blade. Has he got vampiric? He keeps healing up.
We can kill him.
There we go. So the Infernal Edge Sacred Sword. This is the one I was linked to you guys earlier from Leon. So he got that one at 837 and upgraded it, which was pretty nice. This one has 34 all stats, which does roll as high as 44 on the top end there. And of course it goes up higher when you upgrade it. It does have the damage to injured enemies and the lucky hit for 15% chance to execute non-elites. Personally, if I was going to roll this, I would probably re-roll that 15% chance to execute injured non-elites. It doesn't really seem like that useful of a stat. Most of the trash mobs are super easy to kill anyway, so I don't even understand why that one exists, unless you just have really bad damage. There's an 810. That's not bad. Of course, the ideal here is to get above 820, because losing one, you don't want to lose one affix for something that's not even higher damage than what you could normally obtain. That would just be silly. Alright, so the next one... Alright, the next one is located over here in Hawazar. We're moving over to Hawazar. God forbid I look away from the screen for 2 seconds. So over here in Hawazar, if you take the Wejahani waypoint, it's right here in this little alcove. And you go up here and you will find a guy with a suppressor field named Renn Dayne, and he's called the Haunted. When you kill him, Renn Dayne gives you a crossbow called the Haunted Crossbow. The Haunted Crossbow can roll with a really high eye level. It does come with shadow damage, core skill damage, and damage to close enemies. Damage to close enemies on a crossbow sounds kind of odd, but I guess if you're a dagger rogue and you want to damage the close enemies, well, there you go. You could also potentially use this for the shadow imbuement. You know, if you're a shadow imbuement rogue, you could do the shadow damage and the close enemies, and then you'd also get the core skill damage. Honestly, I probably wouldn't re-roll that. Those are all pretty good modifiers for a like a melee rogue setup. And of course, as you can see, she spawned right on top of us again. So we end up with another one. And you can basically just keep farming her repeatedly until you get one of high item level. Let's move on to the next one, which is Enkil. I believe it's a snake. All right, the next one on the list is a super unique known as Enkil. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. Even though some of the websites report him as over here, he's actually right here. And that is sort of east of the Whispering Tree waypoint, so if you want to take that one. You could also potentially take Backwater North. I'm not sure which one would be quicker. The swamp's kind of annoying. But Enkil is a big snake right here. He's called the Animated Statue. And he should drop the Eye of Enkil, which is going to give you the 3.5% crowd control duration, 12% damage for 4 seconds after killing an elite, and the Shrine buff duration. Very odd sort of effects. Not really quite sure about that one. I mean, the crowd control duration is nice in certain situations, like in PvP, where you want the players to be stuck in the crowd control for as long as humanly possible. But I don't know about the Shrine buff duration. I still don't really... I've seen that on a couple items, and I've thought to myself, like, yeah, I don't really know about that. I don't really know about the Shrine buff duration thing. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Alright, so this is the one that is next to Gyakul. So if you see this one right here, Gyakul it's directly east. In this little area right here next to the Conduit Shrine. You actually have to talk to the priest on this one, so Priestess Quinn.
I am no one important. I am simply a conduit for Akarat's light. Why, sharing the holy words of the Zakarum with true believers, of course. Shame. You would have made a lovely pet.
She sounds really rude. She turns into a succubus named Qinel, Seductive the Orator. And she drops the Kins, I don't know how you pronounce Q without a U in there. Captivating Eye, which is a focus. It gives lucky hit chance, which is kind of nice. It also gives a lucky hit slow and crowd control duration. So, could be interesting for a lucky hit build, although you can add that with the wand, which has lucky hit on it too, and you could end up with a pretty high lucky hit percentage. Might be interesting from that particular perspective, especially since it's a weapon. So you could farm up like an 837 or like an 820 plus one of these with a decent lucky hit chance, and then combine that with a lucky hit chance on your wand, and it might make an interesting choice for a lucky hit build. Let's see if there's any more. Alright, so I did double check and to see if there was any more. And currently in the game there is not. There is only 15. However, I think it's important to note that there was a leak a while back that said that there was 20 super unique monsters. And as of right now, I only have 15 items. So that's interesting. And just to recap on all the items that are currently available from Super Uniques, I can go over them really quickly. These are the Super Unique items. I collected one of every one of them. So we've got the Ring of the Splintered Wood, which seems to be more focused around a werewolf, kind of like a crit poison werewolf, or maybe even like a poison crit rogue. It's an interesting ring. Definitely going to look at trying to get a very nice one of these. The Mace of Blazing Furor, which seems to be more about burning and berserking. The Staff of Elemental Command, which has literally an element of every single one. So it has fire, lightning, and cold elemental damage on it, which is very strange. Not a lot of sorceresses I know tend to dive into all three elements, but I'm not entirely sure. We also have the Manhunter Breeches, which seem to be focused more around a rabies druid. We have the Dark Blade, which is more about shadow damage and shadow damage over time, which seems to be pointed more toward a maybe a shadow imbuement rogue. I think they can use swords, and also a shadow necromancer. We have the Kin's Captivating Eye, which was the last one we got, and that one has lucky hit chance and a lucky hit ability with crowd control duration. We've got Eye of Enkil, which gives the crowd control duration, damage to elites, and also the shrine buff duration. The Haunted Crossbow, which gives very nice shadow damage, core damage, and close damage, which is actually pretty nice modifiers there. Infernal Edge, which gives the 50 all stats, 46% damage to injured enemies, and the 14.4% execute chance. This is a two-handed. The Blood Cursed Band, which seems to be pointed more toward a blood necromancer. The Blind Man's Bell, which is the control impaired duration, damage reduction while injured, and movement speed after killing an elite. The Bloodspiller's Helm, which gives you ranks of Rupture, which seems to be pointed at a Barbarian. The Gur's Freezing Armor, which is an ancestral rare chest piece. And that one gives cold damage, cold resistance, and thorns. Seems to be pointed at a character who is maybe doing thorns and cold damage at the same time. I'm not entirely sure. But it seems a little odd because you might just use Razor Plate in that case. But I guess it could be an interesting choice if you were in that weird category of doing cold damage and thorns damage simultaneously. Next, Necklace of Inevitability is crit strike chance against injured enemies, damage reduction while injured, and then healing received. And then we also have the Outcast Hand Wraps, which seem to be pointed at a Incinerate Sorceress. All in all, this is a very odd collection of items. In this, we've got some interesting flavor text. Even the slightest touch leaves painful splinters burrowed into the flesh. The handle of this white-hot mace bears soot marks in the shape of a clenched fist. A powerful relic once belonging to Jazreth, the summoner, this staff was thought lost forever. Wearing these gore-drenched leggings fills your mind with a single overwhelming desire to hunt. While the origins of this accursed blade are lost to time, there is no question that wielding its dark power leaves an indelible stain on one's soul. Even removed from the demon's body, the eye continues to weave its hypnotic patterns. A foul spell of desire was woven into the statue's stone. Its idolaters were helpless as their souls were ripped from their bodies to animate its writhing form. Field notes of Brother Darmont. Those who came before shall bear witness to your deeds. Inscription on the hilt. This massive sword's edge grows keener, and its promises of power grow louder with each life taken. Unhand me, filth. A single drop of my blood is worth an ocean of yours. Within it churns a power you could never hope to understand. Lord Eonan, last words. Blind Man's Bell is, even after he was put to death, some children swore they would still hear his bell ringing softly in the breeze on moonless nights. Greenslade's Tales, Chapter 5, The Myth of the Blind Odwyn. Bloodspiller's Helm, there is nothing better in life than to stand alone, painted red, atop a hill made from the bodies of your enemies. Zarozar The Mighty. Gur's Freezing Armor. Favored by Pitiless Gur, this heavy armor remains painfully cold to the touch, even in the hottest of climates. Barrett's Book of Implements. The Necklace of Inevitability. This vile necklace of charred goat's teeth paradoxically contains both power to extend life as well as to cut it short. And then finally, the Outcast Hand Wraps. These foolish few monks who abuse their training for personal gain are banished from the Floating Sky Monastery and forced to wander the harsh and unforgiving lands beyond. Now, if you complete all 15 of these, you do get the Trophy Hunter achievement. The Trophy Hunter achievement is when you kill all 15 of the rare monsters. Now, that's pretty much it. Get out there and farm yourself some rare, super unique items. Some that could potentially make your class stronger. The weapons in particular seem to be the main focus because weapons, as well as the focus, can potentially be very high item level, and that damage output that those weapons offer can really bump up your damage output. Because 820 is the highest that you can possibly get right now, and these items can roll seemingly as high as 850, that is a huge damage bump. Even if they're not necessarily the optimal bonuses that you would potentially want, because they are such high item level or item power, they can give you a huge bump in your damage output. So, get out there and farm some super uniques. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, even when we're just yakking about super uniques and haunted crossbows and stuff. And keep watching.